Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's going to be a story time video of my pregnancy and labor and delivery. As y'all know, I was missing from my YouTube channel for about a year, and that's really because I was pregnant. I just wanted to focus on my pregnancy and honestly enjoy the time of doing nothing. Literally nothing. Sleeping in, relaxing before this little one came here. But honestly, he's such a good baby. He sleeps and stuff really well now, so I really have no complaints. Yes, you're a good boy. Anyways, I just wanted to come on here and talk to y'all a little bit about my pregnancy and labor and delivery experience. And I hope y'all enjoy this video. Please share, comment, chat with me. I like chatting with y'all, and hopefully y'all enjoy. And luckily for me, this little guy here, up until the last week, literally cooperated with everything. No morning sickness. Really, the tiredness really wasn't even that bad. I was pretty much able to exercise, do pretty much whatever I was normally doing with him. I wasn't really uncomfortable because he didn't make my stomach very big. We really didn't show until maybe 7 months or so that was really showing. At 4 months, my stomach was flat. Even at 16 weeks, my stomach was flat. It looked like maybe I was a little bloated, I had too many sodas or pizza or something, but that was literally it. And then after I had him, my body literally pretty much came back. So he was a very, very, very good baby, very cooperative baby, and a very healthy pregnancy for me up until that last week. And I think by that last week, my body had just had it, and it was too much for me at that point. Ask me all the time now if I want to have a second child, and really I do, but I'm really actually scared about it because that week, the last week of my pregnancy and my labor experience was really almost a little traumatizing for me. The week before he was born, I actually got a TIA, and I don't know if y'all know what that is. It's a transient ischemic attack, which means it's basically a mini stroke. I was just sitting at home one day doing some chores or something like that, and next thing you know, my face starts going numb, the whole right side of my face. And I'm oh my god, I'm getting Bell's palsy, which is something that can happen to you from being pregnant as well. It happened to one of my aunts, and also I don't know if you follow Heather Sanders' channel, it happened to her as well. So my whole face went numb. The next thing, my fingers start tingling, and it's just going up my arm. And I'm okay, this is not normal. I call the doctor immediately, and they're you need to come to the hospital. And I knew the symptoms of having a stroke because my grandmother had one, and also my husband's mom had one a couple years back, but she had a full-blown stroke. So I call my husband, and I'm I'm having a stroke. But at this point, the scariest thing is for your mental, cognition to go so quickly. I knew what I was trying to say, but I could not get out the words. So I was knew in my head that I was and then finally I was okay, my thoughts were everywhere, a tornado in my head. So I was okay, maybe if I spell it. And even I called my mom because I couldn't drive at this point. So my mom lives 10 minutes away from me. So after I get off the phone with my husband, I'm calling my mom. I'm telling her you need to come now. I need to go to the ER. But I couldn't say ER, and I was trying to spell ER, and I kept saying AR, 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 and she was huh? She didn't know what the hell I was talking about. So she speeds over, and my aunt from South Africa is also here at this time because she came to take care of my mom who had foot surgery, and me, so that after I had the baby, we had an extra set of hands basically as well. And they both speed over here in their nightgowns. And they get here, and within like 10 minutes or so, like I felt fine, but it was just like a sudden loss of like my entire mental state. Like I couldn't spell, I couldn't think, like it was honestly really, really scary. And it's in those moments where you realize like how fragile your normal state is. Like one little thing goes wrong and it can be gone like this, like in a second, you know? We got to the hospital, my husband gets to the hospital, they're running all these tests on me, they send me for a CT scan and an MRI, which I absolutely hate. That thing feels like you are in a little coffin, and I didn't think that I was claustrophobic until I got in one of those, and I'm definitely claustrophobic. I had to basically like close my eyes and like just count numbers the whole time to keep my brain off of like what was really going on. But it comes back and they really can't find out like why it happened. So because we don't know why it happened, at this point I'm a little like freaked out to have like another child or think about it. Like pregnancy is a scary thing, y'all. There's so many things that can like go wrong, and like you really, when you have a healthy pregnancy and things like that, like you really, really count your blessings, because there's so many cases where, you know, things just aren't like that and it's difficult. Not to scare anybody, but I was literally in labor for 42 hours. I went into labor about on Saturday at like 6 a.m. I felt like, and honestly, it felt like, you know, like you have food poisoning. Like my stomach was just like cramping, and like, or like you have to make like a really big fart or something. Like it was so gas-like feeling. And then like it kept happening and it kept happening, but it was like very like mild initially. Like I wasn't really in like so much like that much of pain. It was just like, okay, like something's going on here. So I tell my husband, like, look, like you're probably gonna have to stay home from work today. Like I feel like today may be the day. And by this point, like baby was like already late. So I was actually scheduled to go in for an induction on that Sunday, and the day before, little man decides to make his arrival. So the whole day Saturday, and about like 11, I think like 11, 12 p.m., like 11 a.m., 12 p.m. on that Saturday, I went to the hospital. I was like, okay, like, y'all need to check this out. Like, what is going on? And she's like, yeah, you're in labor, but we're sending you home because it's just not that far along yet. So I'm at home, we're waiting. Then I like go home, have dinner with my family, and my aunt and uncle had actually flown in from Canada to see the baby, thinking that he would be here already because his due date was like July 10th or something like that. So they were already here by this time. So we're all having like family dinner, and I'm like eating and in between having contractions and eating in between having contractions. And then finally, like I spend at my mom's house till about 9, 10 o'clock, just like hanging out. And then that evening, I came home, took a bath. Like the baths honestly help so much. So much. You didn't even like feel anything when you're in the bath. I totally get why people have water birds. It was blissful, to be honest. Like it was like a lifesaver at that point. And then at 3 a.m. on Sunday, I couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, nope, can't do it. We have to go back to the hospital. So we go to the hospital, and at this point they're like, okay, like you're in active labor, you're gonna be staying here. So basically I get there, they're telling me that I'm staying there overnight, and immediately she's like, oh, we gotta get you on the epidural right now. Like this is just gonna continue to get worse. Like you need to have it right now. They're thinking that like, okay, my labor's gonna be normal, like maybe it's gonna start progressing a little faster. So I was literally on this epidural, y'all, for 18 hours, which we'll get to that part later, and I'm like not happy about it. I initially thought I was gonna be one of those people that I was gonna be able to take the pain and not do the epidural at all and just have natural birth, and like, cause I'm very weird about chemicals. I don't like being on I don't even like to take a Tylenol. So for me to even like go that far with the medication, like it was already like pretty bad. So I agreed to it, and they come in like about 30 minutes, 45 minutes later. They get me transferred into a room, and the anesthesiologist comes in to give me the epidural. And mind you, like, I'm the one getting it, right? Like, my husband is over there, like, having to sit down because he's getting so, like, frantic about this epidural. The nurse is like, it's okay, you know, just go ahead and take a seat. Like, take a seat. And I'm just, like, sitting there, like, really, dude? Really? So they give me the epidural, and then after that, it's literally like a waiting game. But because I was in labor for so long, the thing kept wearing off. So I'd be like, fine, 1 second, and then like crash, like I'm freaking feeling everything, and they have to come and redo it. And I had like a really bad reaction to the epidural, so every time they would give it to me, or with me being on it, I was literally like shaking like a crackhead. Like I was shaking, I was shivering, I was like itching, like literally like I looked like a crackhead. And no progress, no progress, no progress, no progress. Finally then at about like 10 p.m. that evening, Sunday evening now, they're like, okay, like I think that, well, maybe a little later than 10, probably like 11, no, it was 10 p.m. They're like, okay, like you can start pushing now. And by this point, like I've already been in labor over a day and I'm like exhausted. And like, number one tip I can give y'all ladies who are pregnant is work out during your pregnancy, because if I didn't, Lord, I would not have made it. I would not have made it. So I start pushing, and she's like, oh yay, we're gonna have baby by, like, the baby will be up by 11:30. Like, no problem, like you're doing great pushing. My son, you know, wouldn't be my son if he wasn't stubborn, decides, nope, I'm not coming out at all. I don't want to come out. Get stuck. So then she's like, okay, we're gonna try something new. So there's another nurse that comes in, and we start playing like this game of tug of war. Like she has the sheet, I'm holding on to it, and I'm literally pushing, and like she's giving like resistance to like try to like angle the way that I'm pushing, I guess, like direct the push, and he's just like not wanting to move. So finally within like 10 minutes, and mind you, I hadn't even seen the doctor at this point. They like only come like at that little last time frame. So the doctor comes in and she's like, okay, we're gonna give you like basically 10 minutes or so. If he's like not looking like he's moving, like we have to do an emergency C-section. So at this point I'm like, you know what? I've had surgeries before. Just cut me open and get him out. I was so exhausted, y'all. Too damn tired to care. I've had a BBL surgery. If y'all have seen my previous videos, of, you know what, I can handle it. I'll be good. Let's go. Like, I'm really not too weirded out by that. So I'm not kidding. Within 10 minutes later, like, bing, bam, boom, I was in surgery and they were cutting this little boy out of my stomach. And at this point, like, I'm on drugs, mind you, I'm still shaking like a crackhead. They pulled this child out of me, and I'm looking like, I really expected him to be like, you know, like, obviously y'all see me. You've seen my husband, like, on my Halloween vlogs. So I thought, you know, he was going to come out like a little, you know, mixed looking baby. No, he looks very much Caucasian. So I'm like, am I dreaming? What is going on? But anyways, yeah, it was him. Well, Jude decided to join us. He's like, why are y'all talking about me? And I'm not there, huh? A little nosy. So within 30 minutes, they like had him out. And honestly, from the beginning, if I was given the choice just to have a C-section from the beginning, if you're offered that, by all means, take it. It was worth it. It was over, fast, simple, done, no issues, whatever. And then, as I come out of the C-section room, they have me in recovery. I'm saying that I actually had zero pain from the C-section whatsoever at all, which is like really weird. I was able to like walk and stuff the same like night pretty much. Well, actually no, rewind. I was not, because I had an allergic reaction to having the epidural in place for so long. And the reason why I had the emergency C-section on top of it too was because I spiked a fever during my labor. So they thought I had choreo, which is a uterine infection basically, which is why they wanted to get him out so quickly as well before like either one of us went in towards a bad direction. Yes, buddy. Where was I? Total mom brain. What was Mama saying? What was Mommy saying? Do you know? No? I had no pain from that, but I'm not joking. During my pregnancy, like I said, blissful, right? I really didn't even have like a huge pregnancy stomach. Only like that last week did I really start to like feel like heavy and like uncomfortable. So I didn't even have it like months like other people do. And my body, because of this allergic reaction, swelled up to 3 times the size. Like I literally looked like Jabba the Hutt. Huge. Absolutely huge. I couldn't even lift my legs from the bed to the hospital bed or like on and off because they were so filled with fluid that they were so heavy I couldn't even lift them. Not to mention like after being numb for 18 hours, which gave me like panic attacks because you feel like you're paralyzed. Well, you are paralyzed actually. And I don't like the feeling of like loss of control like that, like just so suddenly. So that like really freaked me out and gave me like, I had like 3 panic attacks during labor as well. Like pushing and pushing and pushing Benadryl through my system to try to get this allergic reaction to go down, and I'm telling you, nothing worked. Like it took about 3 weeks for my body to even like get rid of this. Like my face was like a pancake, like huge, huge, huge. My hands and everything were so sore, and then the Benadryl on top of it makes you tired. So you're like trying to stay up, like he's waking up every 2 hours because obviously he's new to this world. He needs to eat every 2 hours. The Benadryl actually, it dries you up, so my milk production was completely like gone. So basically we had to supplement feed him for a while. Like thankfully like it's come back now. But yeah, like it was like really scary. Like that whole week leading up to my labor and then the labor experience was just not like fun at all. But honestly, I wouldn't change it for the world because I got this little guy out of it. But next time, if I have another, round 2 baby, I will be scheduling a C-section and getting that taken care of real quick. Bye, y'all. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.